Hiya, hi, thanks for joining me for, oh, go away. Hi, thanks for joining me for yet another live stream. Really pleased to see you here today. So I just thought I've been asked a few times to talk about gluten-free cooking, and I thought actually gluten-free bread. People often talk about gluten-free bread. I must admit it's something I know nothing about. So I thought, well, what better than do it live and see how it turns out. So I made some yesterday, and actually that worked. That worked actually okay. And I substituted because some people can't have egg and are also gluten free. So I had a go at making some gluten free bread yesterday with chickpea. Oh no, we didn't. We made chia seeds, but instead of the egg white, which worked really, really well. But today I thought I'm going to do a different way. And someone else recommended using some Persimmon husks, so we're going to use that instead and just see how that works out. So we're going to work today with some potato starch, some buckwheat flour, which although it's got wheat in the name, actually is gluten free. And we're going to actually work with some brown rice flour as well. Okay, so I'm just going to use 1/4 cup of my husk. Let me just open this. I haven't opened this yet, so let's open this and see what it's like. Okay, looks fine. Let's find out. That's the third. 1/4 cup. Okay. So it just looks like wheat germ. Look, amazing, really. Okay, so let's use some of that. So you can see what that looks like. So also, I think this is great if you wanted to add it to your cereal or something like that. It's probably really, really good for the gut to have something else. Okay, so we're also going to add a cup of buckwheat flour. Okay, this is actually buckwheat flour. Actually, if you're gluten intolerant, it's really good to cook with. I made a really good Victoria sponge the other day. Works really well. You can make pancakes with it. It's actually really, really easy and really gives a really nice texture. It's going to use a cup of that, and then we're going to have a 3/4 of potato starch. Let's try that. Okay, so that's strange stuff. It looks a bit like it's got kind of the consistency of corn flour, but it's not corn flour. It's different. So don't be tempted to use corn flour instead. Okay, and then we're going to use 3/4 of the brown rice flour. Let's see, brown rice flour. Okay, so 3/4 of brown rice flour as well. Okay, so all these different flours all do different things. You might think, oh, why are we adding so many different flours? But they've all got different consistencies. Let's show you how that's all. So if we just give that a really big stir, you can see that's all. And once if you find that this mixture works for you, then there's no reason why you couldn't make it up and just have it in a tub, and then when you come to use it, it's already in the tub already. Okay. So to that we're going to add some sugar. So just want to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Well, actually, what I think I might add. So here I've got some tepid water. Okay. So when you're making your bread, you always need tepid water because that's what's going to allow the yeast to start working. Too hot and you kill it. Too cold, it doesn't work. So just a little bit tepid, okay? So just put your finger in if it's warm enough. So I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar to that, and then also to our flour, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, because the salt is what's going to help activate and get the yeast going, okay, along with the sugar. Okay, so I'm actually going to cook with fresh yeast, okay? I've become quite partial to fresh yeast. If you haven't got fresh, it's absolutely fine. Dried works absolutely fine. If you get the quick active one, it works really, really well. If you haven't seen fresh yeast before, then look, it's incredible. It's just so different to what the dried is. So we just want 20 grams of that, which is pretty much half of that. So if I was going to weigh it out, let's see if I'm right. Yeah, 20, bang on, amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in my water, and I'm just going to let that stir, and I'm just going to see if I can just dissolve that. Okay, then also I need some cider vinegar, some apple cider vinegar. Okay, so I'm just going to add 2 teaspoons of this to my mixture. Okay, right, thank you. I haven't made this before, so let's let's all see how it goes. Okay, so right, if we give this a big stir. You can see, actually, I don't think you can see, but it's starting to bubble a little bit, which is what we want. We want it to bubble. So this might be slightly more water than what I'm used to using, and I think a lot of the time that's because gluten-free flour needs more moisture. It often takes up more moisture. It's just, remember, it's different from gluten. It works in a very, very different way. Okay, so we give this a big stir. So normally with gluten-free flour, like the one I made yesterday, you'd actually use egg whites. So, which is why when I made it with the chia seeds for the person who didn't have eggs. So I don't know why you need egg whites and gluten-free flour, but it must be something to bind it together. So I think this is actually using the husks. I think this might give it a different texture. The one I made yesterday didn't need to knead, but apparently you do need to knead this one. So let's find out. Okay, so and obviously you won't be here for the finished thing, but I'll have to see if I can post it and let you know how it worked out. Okay, so let's add our water. Okay, and then as I let it down the bottom, let me just stir in the rest of my yeast that's kind of got to leave that behind. Okay, so you can see it's all bubbling. Can you see it's all bubbling away, which is fantastic, exactly what you want. Okay, we want it to be bubbling because that means the yeast is working. Okay, so let's all give this a really big stir. Oh, well, that's gone really squidgy. How you're supposed to knead this. Okay, let's give this a really big. Okay, so I would be tempted just to put this straight in the. You can see that. I'd be tempted maybe to put that straight in the dish. Yes, when I made it yesterday, actually, you left it to rise, which was incredible. I thought I would just put it straight in the oven, but you didn't. You left it. You put it in a warm place like you do normally. Let it rise, and then you put it in the oven. But this one, I believe you're supposed to do a little bit of a knead to. So maybe I need to add a bit more flour. So maybe I do. Okay, so maybe I do. Let's add then, okay, because we're all investigating together. I'm going to add some more buckwheat flour, okay? So I'm going to add a little bit more buckwheat flour. Let's add a big tablespoon of that. Okay, so that's starting to come together a little bit. So that's the joy of cooking, okay? Is that you can just play around with it, and that's what's so great. And you know, it's amazing what still works. You know, you follow a recipe exactly how you think it should be, and actually if you add a bit more flour or something else, actually you'll still find it works okay. So just don't be scared of just playing around with see, that's gone really thick. Can you see that? Okay, so what I think we might do, I think it might be still a tiny bit too thick, too slightly runny. So I'm going to add, I think, I'm going to add a tiny bit of my bone rice flour, and I'm going to add a tiny bit more of my potato starch. Here you go. Okay, I'm going to give that a big stir. Okay, so this is now going really thick. Okay, people see that? Okay, so what I think I might do, right, like on telly and all that, right, I'm going to put some of my buckwheat flour on my surface, okay, like this, and then I'm going to pour out my mixture. And sometimes when you make your normal gluten-free, normal flour and bread, sorry, that can look a bit like this. Okay, Right, you're going to get your hands dirty. So you're going to get some of your flour. Let's just pour that over my mixture, okay? Then I'm going to give that a knead, okay? Oh, look, it's going. That's amazing. Look, can you see that? So that is all. So again, you just want to pick it up, put it over your flour because it's going to stick to the top, and you're going to give it a knead, okay? So when you need your gluten flour, that's what's really important because you're breaking down the gluten, which is going to enable your bread to rise. But with this, it obviously hasn't got any gluten in it, so I don't suppose you really need it for long. But I think the idea is it's just coming. That's changed. Look how the consistency has changed. Okay, so I think that's just how you want it. So I think actually let's just carry along until we can get a little bit more, a little bit soft. Okay, so just wait around in the flour a little bit. Okay, and I think that's looking really good actually. So I'm just going to leave that, and I'm just going to put that in a bowl, and I'm just going to let that rise, and then I'm just going to cook it, and then afterwards I will post it. Okay, and people can see whether it's worked or not. And I'll probably post it on my website. Okay, so that's Sarah Scotland. You can come and have a look at my website and have a look. Okay, there you go. So let's see how gluten-free bread, and if that worked, think how easy that is. Okay, so it is a bit difficult to get your brown rice flour, your potato starch. Look how mucky my hands have got. Supermarkets don't generally sell it. You can get it online, it is absolutely fine, or there are little shops that sell it, so but it's worth, and it's not expensive. The potato flour and everything else is like £2 a bag or something like that, so it's not hugely expensive, and the mixing and matching it, it will do fine. So there you go. So go away and see how you get on, because it might be actually, and once you've made your own, because people complain actually that gluten-free flour in supermarkets you buy isn't particularly nice. So if you can have a go at making your own, and you can make really yummy ones, then once you've made it, you could add everything to it. You could add different flavours, you could add different things to make it your own, which would be really good, wouldn't it? Okay, so thank you very much, and I will be back next week. Okay, all right, and if you want me to make anything, just let me know, okay? Just ping me a request and we can have a go at making that. Okay, bye then, bye-bye.